boys and girls. Yesterday we started working with this letter. Do you remember what letter this is? Yeah, this is the letter Y. We have our capital Y and our lowercase y. The letter Y makes the Y sound. Y, like in yo-yo. Y is for yo-yo, y, y, y. Y is for yo-yo, y, y, y. Okay, so it begins with the yo-yo begins with the letter Y. And we also learned some other things that begin with the letter Y yesterday. We've read this story here. Do you remember what kind of animal this is? This is a yak. Okay, remember we said a yak is a really big, furry animal with real long, shaggy fur. Okay, now this yak is what color? Yellow. Yellow begins with the letter Y. And down here we see yellow yarn, and this is a yo-yo. All those things begin with the letter Y. Do you remember his name? Yeah, that's Yippee. Yippee. And we also said that some other things begin with the letter Y, like yard and yawn and yahoo. Okay, all those things begin with the letter Y. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to be looking for the letter Y. We can either find the capital Y or the lowercase y. And on here, we have a picture of a yak, and it says Y is for yak. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you how we make the letter Y. Okay, that's the first thing I want to do. To make our capital Y, we start at the top, we slant to the middle, we go to the top, we slant to the middle again. So it kind of looks like a capital V, and then we're going to pull straight down. That's our capital Y. The lowercase y, we're going to start it like the lowercase v. We start in the middle, we slant down again, only instead of stopping, we're going to keep going past. So there's our lowercase y. All right, now on the other side of our paper, at the bottom of the page, we're going to trace, take your finger first, start at the dot, and we're going to trace, stop at the middle, go to the top, slant down, stop at the middle, and then we're going to pull straight down. For the lowercase y, we start at the dot, slant to the middle, and then go to the top and slant all the way down. Okay, so let's take your black crayon. We're going to trace that first. Let's start the black dot, stop, pick it up, go to the top, stop, pick it up, and now pull straight down. Okay, that's our capital Y. And the lowercase y, we're going to start at the dot, stop in the middle, go to the top, and slant all the way down. Okay, it says Y is for yak. Now what we're going to do on this page, we're going to look for the letter Y. If you have a daughter, use your daughter. If you don't have a daughter, then you can just fill in the spaces. Okay, now I'm going to use a color. What color do you think I'm going to use since we're working with the letter Y? Yeah, I'm going to use yellow. So you might want to use yellow also for this. Okay? So let's look across and we'll see if we can find the letter Y. Wherever we see a letter Y, whether it's a capital Y or a lowercase, we're going to put a spot on it. Okay? So let's look across. Is this the letter Y? Now that's an S. How about that one? Is that a Y? Yeah, that's the capital Y. Okay, that one looks like this one. Okay, put a little spot there. And let's come down some more. Remember what this letter is? That's the letter F. How about that one? That's a V. It almost looks like the Y, but it's a V, so we don't want that one. Okay, how about this one? That's a letter T. Should we mark it? No. How about this one? That's the lowercase y. Let's put a spot on there. And let's look again. Remember that letter? That's the letter R. That's our lowercase r. What about this one? Yes, that's a capital Y. Okay, that's the capital Y. Let's put a spot on there. And what about this one? That's another Y. That's the lowercase y. Okay, put a mark on there. And let's come down to the next row. Remember this letter? That's our capital G. What about this one? That's our capital O. And how about there? That's our lowercase t. And remember that one? There's a Y. Should we mark it? Yes. Put a spot on there. And what about that letter? Remember that letter? That's our capital I. All right, let's come down to the next row. You ready? What letter is this one? That's a capital Y, so let's put a spot. What about here? Remember that letter? That's our capital L. Should we put a spot on there? No. How about this one? There's a capital Y again. Put a spot on that one. Okay, what about this letter? You know what that letter is? That's a U. And what is this one? There's a lowercase y. Let's mark a spot. And how about this letter? You know what that letter is? That's a K. Should we mark the K? No. All right, let's come down to the bottom. What letter is this one? That's a lowercase y. Put a spot. And what about this letter? Remember that letter? We did that the other day. That's the letter X. Should we mark it? No. How about this one? That's a lowercase y. And our last one is what letter? H. Okay, so we're looking for the letter Y. Remember, the Y makes the Y sound. Let's see how many Y's we found on our yak. Can you count with me? Remember, point to one at a time, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We found 10 Y's. Y is for yak. All right, now there's a couple of different things we're going to do today with the letter Y. All right, so let me show you the next thing that we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. And the next paper we're going to work on is this one. Okay, remember we said Y is for yo-yo, and that's what it says at the top. Y is for yo-yo. What do you think we're going to do with this page? Yeah, we're going to trace it, okay? We're going to trace our yo-yo, and we're going to trace some Y's on the bottom. All right, so Y is for yo-yo. And we're going to start with our black crayon again. Okay, we'll start with our black crayon. So we'll do our tracing with our black. Now, before we do it with our crayon, let's do our finger first. Okay, let's start our yo-yo. Now, this is, remember the yo-yo is the toy, and it's attached to a string. And we put the string, this part here, the loop, you're going to put the string over your finger, and then you roll it, let it drop down, and it'll bounce back up by itself. And you put it down, and it'll come back up by itself, okay? So what we're going to do is let's take your finger first, and let's just trace with your finger. Okay, let's start right here. We're going to go around, go all the way around. Now follow that line. Okay, that's the string, and now we're going to go all the way around for our yo-yo, and then we'll pick up our finger, and we'll make our circle on the inside. All right, so what we're going to do first, we'll take our black crayon, right, and we're going to start the loop, go right on the dotted line. Now be careful, you want to take your time, okay, we're not going to be in a hurry. Stay right on the line. So where should you be looking? Should you look out the window at the beautiful sunshine? No. Should you look at your dog? No. Should you look at your ceiling? No. Should you look at your baby sister? Probably not. Okay, look at your paper so you can stay right on the lines. Okay, and then we're going to do our circle in the middle there, okay? Right on the dotted lines. Take your time, okay? Don't be in a hurry. Take your time and go all the way around. So there we made our yo-yo. All right, now you can go back later and you can color your yo-yo whatever color you want to make it, okay? Now down on the bottom we have our Y's. Now remember, we're going to do our capital Y starts on the top. So let's start at the top and slant to the middle. Pick up your crayon, go to the top, slant to the middle, pick up your crayon, and then pull straight down. Kind of almost looks like a little bit of a tree, doesn't it? All right, now the lowercase y starts at the broken line in the middle. Slant to the bottom, pick up your crayon, go to the middle again, and slant past the bottom for your lowercase y. Let's go to the next one, okay? Remember, always leave a space in between them. Do our capital Y, slant to the middle, pick up your crayon, go to the top, slant to the middle, pick up your crayon, and pull straight down. That's the capital Y. The lowercase y, we're going to start in the middle, slant to the bottom, pick up your crayon, slant to the middle, and keep going past the bottom. All right, let's do our capital Y again. Remember, the Y makes what sound? Y, y. Okay, let's slant to the middle, pick up your crayon, slant to the middle, pick up your crayon. Now pull straight to the bottom. That's your capital Y. The lowercase y, slant to the bottom, and now slant and go past the bottom line. One last set, okay? Your capital Y, slant to the middle, pick up your crayon, slant to the middle, pick up your crayon, pull straight down. That's your capital Y. And our lowercase y, one more time, slant to the bottom, pick up your crayon, and slant, go past the bottom all the way down. All right, so what letter are we working with? The letter Y. So now you can go back, like I said, you can go back and you can color your yo-yo whatever color you want. You can make it different colors or one color, it's up to you. Now there's one more thing we're going to do with the letter Y, and this is the paper I want you to take now. All right, this is the paper we're working with. Now we have our capital Y and our lowercase y. Now, if you have yellow paint, we're going to paint this yellow because yellow begins with the letter Y. Okay. If you have yellow paint, use yellow paint. If you don't have yellow paint, it's perfectly fine. If you don't have yellow paint, you can use yellow crayon, yellow markers, yellow colored pencils. Okay. But I'm going to use yellow paint today. But you can use whatever. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll start with our capital Y first, and then we'll do our lowercase y. All right. Remember, when we're painting, you want to start at the top, okay? Because we don't want to put your sleeve into the paint. So let's start from the top. We'll do our capital Y first, and then we'll do our lowercase y, okay? So if you have paint, you can use, oh, paint just dried up. I'll put some paint on my dish here. So if you have yellow paint, that's fine. If not, no problem. Okay? So. Here we go. Okay, you ready? Start at the top. And remember, when you're painting, boys and girls, whether you're painting or using markers or crayons, whatever, try to stay in your lines, okay? So it's really a good idea to look at what you're doing and take your time. Don't be in a hurry, okay? Have fun with it. Okay, so we can paint inside those lines there. So we start with our capital Y. And like I said, you always want to start from the top so that you're not putting your sleeve or your arm or your hand in the paint and then dragging it all across, okay? And just keep spreading your paint. If you're using paint, keep spreading it till there's nothing left on your brush, okay? So we'll do our capital Y here. And then we'll do our lowercase y. Okay. And now we'll do our lowercase y the same way. All right? We'll paint that all in. It all around, okay, because you don't want to put too much paint in one spot, because what'll happen is your paper will rip, okay, if it gets too wet. So that's why you want to just keep spreading your paint till there's nothing left on your brush. So if you only put a little bit at a time, it's probably a good idea. This way you don't get too much in one spot. Okay, so there we have our letter Y. Now, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to set this aside so it can dry, okay, because you don't want to be gluing things while your paint is still wet. So I'm going to set this aside for a couple of minutes. While that dries, we're going to look at this paper here. On here we have some things that begin with the letter Y. All right? So we're going to be gluing this on our Y paper in a few minutes. So right now, let's look at the pictures that we have on here that begin with the letter Y. Okay, do you remember what animal this is? This is a yak, okay, a yak. Now remember, Yippee in our book was yellow, but a real yak is not yellow. They're actually like a brown color. And as you can see, it looks very shaggy, doesn't he? He has lots and lots and lots of fur on him. All right, so I'm going to take my brown crayon, and I'm going to make my yak brown. But if you want to make him yellow like Yippee, you can make him yellow. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to do his horns. I'm going to make his horns here. I'll do this little tuft of hair, and I'll do his little snout there. I'll make his dark brown. And then I'm going to go back and make the rest of it lighter brown. Okay? But you can, like I said, you can do it whatever way you want to do it is fine. Okay, I'm just going to do mine like this. Now I'm going to do the rest of it a little bit lighter. But you can make yours however you want to do it. So I'm coloring in my yak. Okay, yak, remember, begins with the letter Y and the Y sound. And I think maybe I'll give my yak some black hooves. These things on the bottom by his feet are called hooves. Okay, so there's my yak. And remember what that is? That's yarn. Remember, somebody would use yarn if they want to knit or crochet a sweater or a scarf or mittens or a blanket or a hat, something like that for the winter. Okay, this is yarn. I'm going to make my yarn yellow. And again, you can make your yarn whatever color you want to make it. I'm going to make my yarn yellow. Okay, and when a yarn is in a bundle like that, they call it a skein. So this is my yarn, my yellow yarn. And remember what this is? Yeah, I like to eat that every day. Remember what that's called? Yogurt. Yogurt. I think I'll make my yogurt. Maybe I'll make strawberry yogurt today. Do you like strawberry yogurt? I like all kinds of yogurt. Yogurt is yummy. All right, so there's my yogurt there. And remember what that is? That's a yo-yo, okay? And you can make your yo-yo whatever way you want to make it. You want to make it different colors, you can make it different colors. You can make it all one color if you want. But it's your yo-yo. You can make it however you want to make it. Okay, so we have our yak, yarn, yogurt, and a yo-yo. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to cut these out, and then we're going to glue it onto our Y paper. Okay, so let me take this off, and we'll cut out our pictures. Okay, so now take your scissors. Remember, thumb in the little hole on the top, and your other fingers in the big hole on the bottom. And remember, always have the scissors pointing away from your body. Very important. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to cut our pictures. You're going to cut on the lines very carefully. You don't want to be looking out the window or anywhere else. You want to make sure you're staying right on the lines. Go a little bit past your line there. Turn your paper. Okay, and you want to cut right on the line. You don't want to cut your pictures apart. Okay, and turn it again. So it doesn't matter which one you start with. But you're going to go right on those lines, and you can cut off the edge of the paper if it makes it easier. That's fine. Okay, cut on your lines. I'll just set that down. And then you can go to whatever your next picture is. Okay, I'll do my yak next. But you could do whichever one. Cut right on the line. Hold it with your helping hand. Okay. If you go a little bit past the edge, it makes it easier for when you want to turn. Okay, and again, we're going to cut the other lines on this side of our picture here. And now we'll do our other pictures the same way. Okay, look at your paper. Take your time. Remember, open and shut. Open and shut. Turn your paper with your helping hand. Okay, look at what you're doing. Turn your paper. If it's easier for you to just go off the edge of the page, that's fine. You can do that. It makes it easier for you. Make the pieces smaller. Okay, they're easier to hold when they're not so big. And then we'll do our last one the same way. Okay. Turn your paper with your helping hand. Follow those lines. And cut right on the line there. All right, so now we have our 4 pictures. We have our yo-yo, we have our yarn, we have our yak, and we have our yogurt, okay? And remember, all those things begin with what letter? Y. All right, now what we're going to do is we'll take our paper, okay, if your paint is dry. This is pretty dry right now. It might be a little bit wet, but that's okay. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to glue our pictures around the letter Y. All right, so you can take whatever picture you want to start with. Okay, I just happen to grab my yogurt, so whichever one you want to start with is perfectly fine. All right, and I'm going to glue my pictures around the letter Y. Okay, you can put them anywhere you want. Okay. If your paint is still wet, if you use paint and it's still wet, then just wait a little while, and then you could always, go back and do it later. Okay, now I'm going to take my yak, and I'll put my yak on, and it doesn't matter where you put them on your paper. Wherever they fit, wherever you place them is fine. All right? So it doesn't matter which one you use. And I think I'll take my yarn. Put my yarn on. Okay, I'll stick that up there. And then we have our, what that is? The yo-yo. Okay, we'll take our yo-yo. Put my yo-yo on here. Alright, so let's just go over our pictures that we've got. Remember what letter this is? This is the letter Y, and the Y makes what sound? Y. Y. Like in yogurt, and yak, and yarn, and yo-yo. Okay, we'll do some more work with the letter Y tomorrow. Okay, see you later.